So dear friends, welcome back to Dad's Data Analytics Talks. The last two videos I have been dwelling on Databricks. So we have seen what is Databricks as a cloud platform for data and the emergence of a lakehouse. And the second session, we have made a tour of the Databricks. We have seen the power of Databricks and what is possible with the Databricks and various building blocks, various features of Databricks, like the compute engine, how powerful we can build the compute engine, and the workspace, how to collaboratively work among different developers, and the notebook which supports multiple languages like R, SQL, and Python, Scala, and so on. And we also saw how these jobs can be configured in Databricks. In this session, we are going to try to implement a small ETL. ETL means extract, transform, and load. We have something to extract. We will have some data in Azure Data Lake, and we will try to connect to the data lake, and we can get those files from data lake, and we do load into data frames and do transformation in Databricks. Then we push that into analytical data store like Azure Synapse. That is a working model, but you should understand like why we do this. So first I will be focusing on concepts a little bit, then I will show you how we can implement this in real scenario. So let me start with explaining you the need of an ETL. So welcome back. We will start with ETL, very famous. What is ETL? What is E stand for? It is for extract. T stands for transform. L stands for load. So we have something to extract. What is that? Can you guess? It could be a CSV file. It could be Excel file. It could be a database. We are extracting data from sources. That is extraction process. And what is transformation? The transformation data comes with a lot of defects. You have to profile the data. You have to cleanse the data. Then you may have to enrich the data. Though the cleansing, enriching, all happens during the transformation phase. And the raw data is enriched and being pushed into somewhere. That is load. Understanding ETL is very simple. We will do with a simple example. So we are starting with one, that is extract. You are a PhD student. You are doing a research. Your topic is the climate change. Your area of industry is the impact of rainfall due to the climate change. So your scope is multiple regions across countries, across continents, and your scope of the data is over multiple years, maybe 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, based on the availability of the data. You have started gathering the data. As I already mentioned that you have multiple regions, you have multiple years, you will have different data files. Probably you start creating folders with the date 1/1/23, then you will put 2/1/23, then you may say 3/1/23, then it goes on. Today it is 16th, 12th, 23. So you keep on accumulating data and you start putting the data into folders, right? So if I can see this as a single unit, this is the first unit, and we call the data sources. The first is data sources, building the data sources. So in our case, we have built the rainfall data across the region over years, over the period. And we keep on adding. See, tomorrow comes, then we'll keep on 16, 12, 23. Yeah, I accumulate the data in the data store. So this is number one, data source. Since this data is distributed across multiple files, then I will have to put this data into a bucket. It will be a single store. This is where you call as analytical store. This analytical store, I need to bring the entire Excel files into this analytical store. Do you think that it is simply easy to just drag and drop the files from this store to this store? It is practically not possible. So what will happen? I need to bring a middleware, a tool in between the source and the destination. Databricks is one of the tools which can help you take the data from here and put it here. You got the relevance of a ETL tool in this context. Basically, you will be using a data lake. I already mentioned about Azure Data Lake Gen 2, and you will be using folder structure in the Azure Data Lake Gen 2 to manage your input sources. So obviously, your Databricks has to talk to Azure Data Lake Gen 2 storage. It needs to pull all these files from the data lake to Databricks. Here, you need to process using SQL, then Python, then Scala, then R. You can use any language for processing here. Then, next step is you are going to write to an analytical store. What is an analytical store? So you can use Azure Synapse here. So you understand the infrastructure required for building an ETL process. Basically, we need to have a data storage where normally we are using the data lake. And we need an ETL tool. Normally we use Databricks. Then we need an analytical store that is nothing but Azure Synapse in this context. You have other tools. We have many other tools like, you can use Azure Data Factory. Using a data factory, there is something called ADF, Azure Data Factory. You can bring here, you can push to Synapse. In that context also, in the ADF, you can integrate with Databricks, all these transformations still can be integrated with ADF and Databricks. So Databricks is one of the important platform where big data is profiled, cleansed, transformed, and pushed into a analytical store. So this is, in a nutshell, how an ETL works. In here, of course, there are very complex ETL process, but as a miniature, this is what you need to understand. So we have number one, extract, transform. Then we have the load 1, 2, 3. So by head, extract, transform, load. There is also something called extract, load, and transform, but that was used in the legacy data warehouses. But now, when the advent of cloud, data lake, we follow ETL. So this is all about ETL. Now, let me show you how to implement an ETL within Databricks and Azure Data Lake. So when you start building this kind of architecture, you will have some challenges. Of course, one is with respect to authentication. I know you are very aware about the authentication. This data lake exists in Azure cloud. Databricks also can be Azure Databricks, or you can even use the Databricks from some other platform. And Synapse again sitting within Azure, or you can have your destination somewhere outside, maybe in S3 or somewhere in Google Cloud. You can be anywhere. Connection between the data lake, Databricks, and the destination. Maybe it's a synapse. That's the challenge. So it should have some authentication mechanism. So normally, if you're working in Azure, to connect from Databricks to data lake, we have the SAS token. Now, where are we creating the SAS token? SAS token is being generated at the storage level, the storage account level, container level, any folder level. Then we have something called service principal name, SPN. It's basically you are registering an application, you have a client ID, client secret, and key. Then you will use this SPN to integrate with Databricks to data lake. Then you will have manager identity. So you will have you will use a manager identity to have build the connection between the data lake and Databricks. See, one of the very common approach to connect from Databricks to data lake is mounting the folders. Mounting, its concept is called mounting. So I will show you how to mount, and once you do the mounting, you are establishing a smooth connection between the container and Databricks, and you can load as if you are just loading from a folder directly. So authentication is so make sure you understand about this authentication a little bit before you start building the solution. So connecting to SQL or even Synapse, you can use the connection string, right? It is just you get the connection string also from the Azure. So you need a connection string, you need a SAS token, you may need this SPN or managed identity. So this is something about the authentication part. So to implement our requirement, our solution, we need few things to set it up. First of all, you have to set it up an Azure Data Lake Gen 2 storage account. Next is to put your files into that. How can I put that? Either you can use PowerShell, or you can use some custom application, or you can use some event hub, or you can manually upload. So any of this approach you can use to put your data into the data storage. Then you need to generate a SAS token from this storage. Then let's do the set up the Databricks. Databricks. You will have to, as I mentioned, you need to mount this folder into Databricks. Then we have to set up our Synapse Studio, or you can use simple SQL. Then we need to push it into data into this Synapse. Okay. So as a student, as a data engineering student, okay, you are dealing with Azure Storage, Databricks, then Synapse or SQL, or even you can write this back to the storage itself in different file format. So remember, you are not going to directly put anything from data lake to the analytical store. That's where the need of a transformation tool is required. Here we are using Databricks. So hope you understand the whole concept of Databricks now. So welcome to the demo. If you are not subscribed this channel, please subscribe this channel for getting the latest data analytics videos. I have already created my storage account, which is called Databricks File Access. As I already mentioned in one of my video on storage account, we have two types of storage account. We have the Gen 1 and Gen 2. The Gen 2, the benefit is that you can create multiple folders and subfolders and create the folder hierarchy. And as I mentioned, now our topic is to gather data of the rainfall from multiple regions and over multiple periods. So of course, we need to have you need to maintain the folder structure, and we need to put our files into that. So the Data Lake Gen 2 is the best storage option for maintaining multiple files across regions and over periods. So let's do that. I have a file upload folder. The file upload folder, of course, I can add directories. You can, as I mentioned, I can say 2023-01-01. That's one folder. I can create a number of folders like 2023-01-02. So whichever the best approach, you can create folders under this storage account. So to show you, I have uploaded one file directly under the file upload container. So this is how I have set up my storage account. So once you are ready with your container, next step is to generate your SaaS token so that you can mount this particular file upload container from Databricks. Okay, so this is where you will get the SaaS token. So the SaaS token, it will generate signing key, storage access policy, and the permissions. Permission you can have add, remove, create, delete, list, move, execute, ownership, permission, all the permissions, and you can have a start and end, and you can click on the create SaaS token. So basically, the SaaS token is generated at this level, right? So we are ready with our SaaS token. We are ready with our containers. So now we have set up everything from a storage point of view. Now we are going to the database and connect to the storage account, pulling the data and pushing to some other destination. So let's continue. Everything that we need to do from a storage point of view, data point of view, we have completed. We have created a storage account. We have created a container. We have uploaded an Excel file into our container. So all three have been completed. So I would like to show you the type of data which is uploaded. You have the data, rainfall average data from all the states and their districts of India. And it is a daily data. And we have the monthly and also year information available here. So this data will be used for our analysis. So our purpose is to get this data into a analytical store. Maybe we will be using the Databricks, right? So I'm back to my Databricks playground. I am using community.cloud.databricks.com. I'm not using the Azure Databricks. Sometime you may not have Azure account. So if you wish to play with Databricks, please go to community.cloud.databricks.com and you can log in using your personal account. Let me sign into the community edition. So you are logged into the community edition and you are into data science and engineering landing page. You can create notebooks, you can import data, you can start with AutoML, and a lot of tutorials also available here in this landing page. I have created a sample script for my demo. Let me click on my sample script. So before you running the script, what you need to do is you have to associate a compute. So come to the compute space and check you have a compute running. If you have not created a compute, and you can click on the create compute and give a compute name. Since it is a community edition, we don't have much options here. I would go with the default options. And of course, you need to check if you need to install any libraries. So for example, if you are going to load an Excel file, you need to have certain packages installed in the compute. Okay, so I have installed one of the package. So if you would like to install any package, click on the install and you have many repository. You can have a PyPy, you can have Maven repository. And within Maven repository, you have Spark package and Maven Central packages. You search for package and install them as and when they're required. I have already installed it, so I'm not going to install anything during this demonstration. So let me go to the recent page. I can go to my script. First thing I am going to do is to do the mounting from the Databricks to the Azure Data Lake Gen 2. So basically the mounting is very easy. Now we have the code snippet here. I can show you that. So for that you need to have a storage account and a container name, and we need to have the SaaS token that we already having. Then we can use this syntax. Okay, it's basically using a dbutils.fs.mount. This is the command, and the parameters are source, then the mount point, and extra configuration. With that command, we can mount any Azure Data Lake container to a Databricks. So let me execute this command. You can run this cell alone, or if you want to run all the cells together, that's also possible. I click on the run cell. So basically it is running the command. It will show you the progress of what is happening. So let it take a few minutes to do that. So this is mounted. So the Boolean returns true. That means we have mounted the Data Lake Gen 2 folder into Databricks. Now after that, you can list out what is containing in that mount. The mount name is /mnt/file upload/, and there is a command dbutils.fs.ls, which is going to list what is within this mount. Let me again, this is a scalar command. I will run the cell. This is going to show you what is available within the folder. It is a daily rainfall data from National Remote Sensing Center Agency during November 2023 XLS. So this data is this file is available under this directory. Next, I am going to show you how to load this Excel content into a data frame. So basically, we need to import whatever the packages to the notebook, and we need to have a loop where it will iterate through all the files within the folder. We have the dbutils.fs.ls, and parameter is the the mount, and if there are multiple files, go through the loop. Then what will I have written a Excel load function. The function, which is the Excel tab name. The Excel tab name is daily rainfall data from nation, and we are using a package to load the Excel, and the header is true. Then first row of the sheet is header, and infra schema. Basically, when you say if you can infer the schema, what happen is it will infer the column type of each core Excel column. State may be worker, and the stick may be string, and the year may be numeric, like that. It can infer the columns. Then what is the address? If you are only reading certain range of the Excel sheet, you can mention the sheet name and the range, and this is a command which is again loading the data, and it will return a data frame. So I can prepare data is a function which I will load it here. Then once it is loaded, I will display the content. So let me execute this command. Again, this is written in Scala. Let me run the Excel. So basically this takes a few seconds to load the data. You can see that command, basically it has displaying the content of the Excel sheet as a table. You can see that You can even download the data using this download button. So the extraction part of our ETL is complete. So we will show you what kind of transformation we can do with this data frame. See, in every transformation, all the transformation depends on the requirements. See, we have loaded our data into a data frame. Data frame is equal to a data set, and in this data frame, you can manipulate your data in whatever way you need. Like it is, you can basically add columns, you can do sorting, or you can cleanse, you can remove the null values, you can append, or you can create union of other, you can do joins. So all that is possible with the data frame can be implemented at this level in this Databricks. So once you have done that, you can move the load, you can load the data into any destination. Maybe if you want to save the file in another name into the data lake itself, that's also possible. So let me show you that case. I am just adding a new column to the data frame, which is status, and it is set as processed. Then I am writing the file into the data lake with a new name, that is extracted file name. So let me execute that command. So what is that doing? It is loading the Excel, adding a new column, and writing back to the data lake Gen 2 with a new name. So you can see a new column added as status. You can see a new file added to this data lake. So whenever you need to convert a file into a Parquet format or a Avro format or anything you want, you can do that from Databricks to the data lake. Okay. Suppose if you want to save the data into a database, the Databricks has that option. You can use the JDBC connections. You can provide the server name and the username and the password, and basically you can use a save mode. You can give a table name, then you do that. This time I will show you how to show that in using a data into a DB. Okay, how we are saving your data into a database. Okay, let me execute this command. End of this command, what happens is like your data is being stored into a SQL database. Okay. Yes, coming to the database, we can see that the data from the Excel sheet is loaded into our SQL server, and you can see the data here. So with that, we have seen how to do the ETL using our Databricks. Now we have covered how to load data into Azure Data Lake, then use the Databricks, then upload data into a SQL server. So extract, transform, and load. This is all about ETL, and this is how we use Databricks to do the ETL. And Databricks is not limited to this simple activity. Databricks can do a lot, including the machine learning integration. We will try to see more videos on Databricks in the future. Thank you. Thank you for watching Data Analytics Talks. Keep watching Data Analytics Talks.